Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss the unidentified, the unexplainable, paranormal, conspiracies, and much more. Starring your hosts and co-hosts, Jenny Nicasio, Sean Kelly, Trish Lowe, and Jason Sledgehammer Ryan Petro. Brought to you by UPRN Network. Now for your host, Jenny Nicasio.
Good evening and welcome to Chasing Prophecy on 105.3 New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. I'm Jenny Nicasio, along with my co-host, Sean Kelly, Jason Iapetro, and Trisha Mo. How's it going, guys?
Happy Torture Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not torture. Happy Tuesday.
Yet.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy the eve before the eve.
Tomorrow's the biggest party night of the year, ain't it?
I don't know. Is it?
Guy that,
used to be.
He went into a supermarket with his gun shooting turkeys.
No.
Yeah.
Who did that?
Like the frozen turkeys?
Yeah. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't want you all.
Come on.
It's something Sean did like 25 years ago.
Never had a gun, never owned a gun in my life.
Really? What the heck is that about, Sean?
What
kind of American are you?
Myself.
Yeah, really.
I don't trust myself with a gun, especially in my mental being.
Why am
boy.
Wait, why am I so big here? Okay, wait.
There you go.
There.
Now we see everybody.
I was looking. I was trying to share our links with everybody, and it's so hard to do that and pay attention to StreamYard.
Hi, Joni.
Hi, Joni.
Hi, Joni.
How's it going, girlfriend? Okay, what we're going to do tonight is open mic.
Let me get my guitar out.
We're having fun tonight, guys.
We're going to have fun. We're just going to goof off. And so it's anything, everything paranormal. And if you want to be on the show, I'm going to post a link if you want to talk about some of the topics we're going to be talking about tonight. So it should be an interesting night. We have some cool topics. I'm going to get to them right now. The first topic for the evening is, are you ready?
Drum roll.
Drum roll. Okay, we're going to talk about the black eye ritual. Now, I don't know if any of you guys know what it is. I know Facebook and Google and YouTube kind of censors it on. So we're just going to talk about that first. So
thank you, Augie. I got a big boy thermos tonight.
Oh God. So I'm gonna put the link to the show in here. So if you all want to be on the show, if you have a comment or question, or if you know what the black eye ritual is,
it like Fight Club?
Hey Brian, how are you, buddy?
Fight Club.
First rule: we don't talk about it.
Right? First rule, yeah.
We don't talk about black eyes.
Okay. Black eye ritual. It's a conspiracy.
Why do you think it's a conspiracy?
Because,
what is it?
Okay, what it is it's a conspiracy theory that suggests that the Pope, royals like Prince Charles, Prince Harry, what's the other guy's name? William Dumb. Royals are part of the secret Illuminati. You know what we talked about a couple times.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
Illuminati.
Yeah. Illuminati. Was that how you say it, guys?
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
Okay. Well, a lot of these celebrities are engaging in what they call the black eye ritual. Now, does anybody know what that means? In the group here,
I tried to look at Google and I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find crap.
It's like a rite initiation, like a rite that they have to do. And
wait, does that have to do with the Masons?
Yeah,
or is that something else?
Illuminati, I don't know. If anybody out there can tell us that, please. I don't think so, though.
Okay, a conspiracy theory. And I was saying the celebrities who have been snapped.
Two different entities, two different groups.
No, they belong to the secret organization. It's like it's like an initiation that they have to, according to they put the bruises down. It's like a ritual, initiation ritual, and when they are into this that they are sporting a black eye. And according to them, Elizabeth Hurley is one. Boy George, Robert Downey Jr. are among of the A-listers have been photographed with bruising in the area in recent years. So if you see it like a celebrity with a bruise on their face, some have even said that George Bush, the former United States,
I saw that picture.
Yeah, along with the Pope and Prince Philip and Prince Andrew, all have been initiated into this secret society. Now, I don't know if it is true or not. So if you are in the chat and you want to, tell us what you think about it, even the Pope apparently, I'll show you.
What do they do? Some guy come up and punch him in the eye?
No, it's right. It's like a it's an initiation thing. It's an initiation.
I know, but what do they do? I mean, shit.
It's all back. It's all going back. It's all going back to devil worshiping, I think, and it's a bizarre facial bruise. I'm going to show you some pictures. I'm going to pull up
please.
I'm going to pull up some pictures right now. Let's pull them up. Let me.
But it's only the left eye, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
It's only the left eye, which is kind of weird. And it's so.
Well,
what if the celebrities just got like injuries? Since
it's kind of odd. It's all
right.
Maybe
they're always getting photographed all the time, so it could be people get beat up all the time.
True, but it also could be that they got some makeup done, or
why would they do that? I mean, why would they put that stuff on their face just to be?
I have never seen that man. I have never seen that man with a black eye like that. No way.
It looks like it's photoshopped.
That's he's passed away, so that was probably a few years ago. It says they're saying it's a satanic ritual called soul scalping too, that they do this facial bruising.
That's funny. I'm sorry.
Here's Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my God!
Sporting it.
Hold on, I gotta make my screen bigger. I gotta see.
So Sean,
he's been known to get into fights and all kinds of things when he's been intoxicated. So I mean, he kind of has that reputation, anyways.
Drew Barrymore's unborn child had punched him. Wow.
Here's the one. This is the Pope, and I do believe
he probably tripped and fell.
No, listen, the Pope. This was pictures in 2017. And it's caused a lot of, controversy regarding that because a lot of people believe that the devil has infiltrated the Catholic Church, and they belong to that secret society where they, the Illuminati.
Well, there, it's saying he claimed he'd been hit in the face by a microphone stand.
Yeah, he claims.
But that's believable because he's so old, and the elders bruise very, very easily. If you get smacked, have you ever gotten smacked in the face with a mic stand?
Nope.
No, I don't want to.
It's not pleasant.
Here's George Bush.
Other people.
Here's
his
George
wife probably knocked him in the eye.
So they said a lot of people. This is a big thing on social media that's not censored by Facebook, and
maybe they're all just iron deficient.
Could be.
Or else, you know what? They went in for some what do they call plastic surgery. Could have done that.
It's just a black. It's
Botox.
just a black.
Maybe it's a after effect.
Well, it's kind of strange. It's just a left eye on all these guys.
Okay, here's my question to you, though. All right, to the panel here. If they saw the Pope with a black eye, would it not be all over the news?
I'm sure it was at that time, 2017. And we're going back a couple of years, but I'm just trying to find out what you guys think about this. Do you believe that there could be a secret society that worships the devil, the celebrities, the more like the Soros, the, big pharma, and these celebrities like, a lot of people think that J.K. Rowling sold her, she's a witch and she sold her soul to the devil to come up with all these beautiful, magical stories. That she's a trillionaire,
But it could just be talent too.
Yeah, that's true too. Do you remember the show? We're talking years ago. It was called A Year at the Top.
No.
It was a movie. It was about most, those stars that only have like a year and that's it and they're done. and they claim that they sold their soul to the devil for that. But it's
Oh,
something to
God.
talk about. I mean, I believe, I mean, you know, like there's a lot of people think that like Britney Spears, her father is involved in this, and that's what happened with him. There's so many like fiance and
Yeah, well, from
all
what I
these symbols that they use in their when they're performing, they use a
Didn't
symbol.
Lady Gaga talk about something about the Illuminati, how she was trying to get out of it or something
Yeah.
a couple years
yeah.
ago?
So there might be something to this.
And I read a couple articles on to where some of the performers out there, it's like once you make it, you got to join this Illuminati. You know what I mean? And they kind of like back up to produce the performers. You know, I read it today in that article that you sent that once you make it big, you're in. You know what I mean? They got you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you live by their rules at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I can see that not with and any type of occult thing. It's like there's always going to be power in media, and so most anytime somebody becomes big, they do want them to change their lifestyle because it's public, it's very public. And so that means there's somebody else always in control if they allow that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what
Because
about on the
money and power. So I don't think that necessarily correlates to any type of I mean, that's just the world, you know.
on the contrary? What about like we're saying people selling their soul to the devil for fame and all that? What if they actually prayed to God and He just blessed them with a big break?
That
Or
could
even
happen.
law of
That is a
attraction.
possibility.
Possible too.
You know, everybody's like, "Oh, they sold their soul to the devil." How do you know? Nobody knows. Maybe
Nobody
they prayed
knows
about
that
it and got a
crap.
break.
You're right. You're right, Jason. No one knows that happened.
What about this? That they're putting that together with the blood harvesting that they do. Well,
I heard about that.
that they
That's
feed off
That's why
the
they look
blood of
so young.
children.
Yeah, on some island or something. That's how they all look so young as they're aging or something.
A lot of people thought that was Epstein's island too.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. But wasn't there back in the 15th or 14th century, there was a queen, or I don't know if she was a queen or not, but she got all the women that
Yeah.
were
Virgin women.
and drank
Wasn't that
killed
Bloody
them and drank their
Mary?
blood. I don't think it was Bloody Mary. I don't know what her name
Wasn't
was.
that what Dracula claimed to do? His wife would take baths in the blood of the people that he slayed.
No.
So that's a big that's actually
true.
And he would actually, the real Dracula, even back then after war, he would drink his when they would go to war, he would drink their blood, because in anything a lot of hunters do that, a lot of people do that because it's a transfer of power. They assume the power of their victim, the power of their competitor, the power of anyone in war, things like that. And the same with that has been around in legends and folklore forever, even since the time of the gods. They would say anytime they killed something, they would eat the beating heart or things like that, because it takes the victim's chi, their life.
Yep, exactly. That's what I've heard that too, Trish.
Yeah, the Native Americans, whenever they went on a buffalo hunt and they killed a buffalo, they would automatically cut the heart out and eat it.
Yep. So it's strength, which, I mean, scientifically, if you were to eat a raw heart, there is more nutrients
Oh, that's
in the meat
disgusting.
because cooking anything, you lose a lot of the nutrients in the making. So, but I don't think, that's even in religion, in even in Christianity and Catholicism and everything, communion, things like that. You're technically doing a blood ritual, even if it's not actual blood of Christ. So I think that's all, it's perspective, because there's so many different.
Yeah, and it's like that. I don't know if you saw that. Spoiler alert. I don't know if anybody watched Black Mass on Netflix. So if you
No.
I started to, then I fell asleep.
That's what they talked about. we're getting into vampires and stuff like that.
I think you were referencing what's her name, Elizabeth Bathory earlier, a little
Yeah.
bit ago.
Okay. Yeah. That's her. That's who
She was
it
a
is.
Hungarian or something, and made
Yeah.
her servants snatch young girls to bathe in their blood.
Yep. Yes.
Hey, if it worked, no.
Johnny, no ideas there, honey. No
I'm gonna go
ideas.
get some. No, I'm gonna be
Oh,
banned,
my.
shadow banned. Okay, yeah. So that's going. I mean, it's always going back to a conspiracy about how the elite, they're into the black magic, black arts, and anyways, we're moving on to our
Black
next
eyes.
black eyes. So if you see me with the black eyes, next week, you know what happened.
So I used to be in roller derby, and I would show up at work with black eyes and bruises and all kinds, broken fingers and all kinds of stuff. And I worked with all men, and people are like, "Did they beat you? What are you doing?" Sometimes I would tell people. Sometimes I would just say, I wouldn't say anything, and they would come up with all kinds of stories about why I might have a black eye. But I was, it was by choice. That was a hobby. I was in a sport. So
yeah, as long as you weren't taken into the back.
No.
They're gonna do some rituals with Trish.
So what sports did you play, Trish?
Oh, that was when I was in roller derby, but I used to box as well. So I mean, I've had a lot of black eyes.
We got ourselves a bouncer.
So
cool.
So moving on to our next topic, which is the Pine Bush UFOs. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but there was a lot of UFO sightings at the Hudson Valley, like Hudson Bay Valley of New York, I believe. And this goes back to 1950s. And it's a really big hotspot for aliens, and it's pretty cool. So have you heard of it, anybody?
I was checking it out earlier a little bit, and with the fact that it's in New York, is it possible because there's so much life there, so much city life, and there's just a lot of population, do you think they're attracted to something like that, and that's why it's a hot spot?
Well, I'm not sure if the Pine Bush area is in the city. I think it's like in the suburbs, isn't it?
Somewhere around there. I didn't get to fully look at it, but it's just New York in general is so populated all over.
Could be.
Especially upstate New York. Think about it, right? Missing 411. The first two cases on that show, them guys are from New York, upstate.
Mm-hmm.
And they claim at the time that they went missing that there was a ton of UFO action going on up there while they were missing.
Yeah, it's a hotbed for reported UFO sighting going back decades. And according to the National UFO Center, I mean, MUFON, it goes way back. I mean, and they have a like a festival, sort of like Kecksburg has, and it looks pretty fun. I mean, I like to go check it out one of these days. But there's so many people that have seen it. I mean, we're going back to, like I said, the 1950s. It's been recorded. There's a couple of different YouTube videos, but not too many, because it's like one of the UFO sightings that you don't hear too much of, but they have the same triangle shape to it with the lights. It's pretty cool. I know there was one, what did they say? It was like 1950s, the 60s. It was this really hot in the 60s. And then again, it started that they actually saw UFOs go hover above the trees. And that's going back. That was like the 1970s and then the 1980s and and then there's been unexplained lights in the 1990s. So it's a lot of the same triangle type lights. It's pretty cool.
Huh.
They call it the Pine Bush phenomenon because it's like everybody has according to these news, like this one article in Times Union, there's a fella called Zimmerman, and he says almost everybody has their own UFO story over there. It's like everybody sees it. It's like a common phenomenon. It would be pretty cool to see that. Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's like Kansas. I mean, it's like it's normal here.
My cousin just said. My cousin just mentioned Blue Book, Project Blue Book.
Blue Book,
not back in the 50s,
not Kelly
50s
Blue Book
or 60s, but like 70s, 80s, and 90s. Is it possible they were doing Blue Book back then?
Oh yeah, they were
don't
doing
know.
Project Blue.
I thought
It was
that's when
back
it
in
started.
1940. Yeah, 1947, I think. Right around Roswell. That's when back when Truman
They
era.
would. I saw something today about NASA caught something just above the Earth, like floating around and lost transmission or something with their satellite. They caught a picture of whatever's flying around, and they're like big things are going to be happening or something. Did anybody see that?
Where was this at? On what time?
It was on some news thing. I was just scrolling and I saw it. And, of course, I don't know if it's real or not because it's the internet. But talking about UFOs, it's possible.
What is that thing that floats in outer space, Jen? We had a show on it that one time.
The Black Knight?
The Black Knight, yeah.
Could it be that?
Could be. And that Black Knight, that they never could figure out what the heck that was. And it's been
Didn't they think it was a piece of debris or something?
But
Like
but back in the 1800s, they saw it too. So how could it have been a piece of debris from where?
I don't know.
I mean, like with space junk.
You got the asteroid belt and stuff flying around everywhere.
Well, not in the 1800s. They didn't have anything like that. It would be
the asteroid belt was there in the 1800s.
Well, they didn't have
been here
equipment.
forever.
Well, I mean, they didn't have like space junk.
They had telescopes.
No, not in outer space. They didn't. They didn't do any silly.
I mean, it just. And God, I love this show. I just love this show.
I'm trying to find. I'm on Bub Top Secret. I'm trying to find out. God, let me see. I'm going to go on Godlike and see if I see anything. What was that? NASA put that out?
Yeah,
Jason?
yeah. They said NASA because they lost like transmission or something right as they saw whatever it was.
Let's see if I see anything.
I don't know if it's real or not. Like I said, it's the internet, so it must be real.
And you said you saw it on today, was it?
Yeah, I was scrolling through some news stuff and it just popped up. I should have saved it. That's what I should have.
Let me see if I see anything on there.
So the funny thing, though, which I 100% believe, because if you do further research on certain things like that, they end up being more truthful than not. It's kind of like in Men in Black, they say they look up it's like National Enquirer and stuff, magazines like that for stories. And then that's what they investigate. Well, I think it's kind of the same on the internet. If you see something off the wall, then it's probably more realistic than something fabricated on maybe an even more, something that people would believe more, another channel.
That's interesting.
Here come the Men in Black.
I don't ever see National Enquirer anymore. I don't even know if that's.
They still have it up.
Do they?
Still, I don't read.
I just remember when I was little, that used to be a big thing, and that was the one that had the off the wall stories. But now that I have experienced more cryptids in my life and paranormal things, I look back on some of those and I think, wow, that was more realistic and probably a true story than most people care to believe.
I really wish I read the National Geographic. I think that was the young boys porn book back then. That's what they used to call it. The young boys porn group.
I thought that was the ads in the Sunday paper.
No, the Sears catalog, brother.
There you go. You're an old timer.
I am an old timer with the Sears catalog.
Pre-internet.
Yeah, I don't see anything about that, Jason.
Oh,
if I stumble across it, I'll send it to you.
And it was today.
Yeah, I saw it today a couple hours ago. I was like, oh, that's neat.
Does anybody in our audience want to ask a question? Come on, Brian, say something. Augie, say something.
This is NASA to smash satellite into asteroid to test plan to save Earth. Is that what you're talking about?
No. It was like something about a UFO, and because whatever's taking the picture they have up there, the piece of equipment lost transmission as soon as it started catching pictures of it, and then when it came back online, it was gone.
So NASA lost.
If I stumble across it, I'll find it. I'll have to dig it up, see if I can find it.
Well, they're trying to blow up a
Augie
satellite.
says something.
They're supposed to be blowing up an asteroid that's headed to Earth, so I don't know.
Oh no!
You think that asteroid would make it to Earth? Honest to goodness, do you think it would?
That would be great.
You'd be dead, dude. We
all would be. We wouldn't even feel it.
I mean, no more chasing prophecy. I mean, come on. If that
I don't see
happened,
anything on it. I looked. There's nothing I could find on a lost transmission.
Could you imagine if an asteroid like smashed into the ocean just east of us, and then like we had a giant wave come as far as we are, in PA
it'd
and
probably go
stuff?
further.
Oh
It'd be
my God.
It'd probably come to Kansas, and there'd be Trisha yelling at
Oh
us.
shoot, I'd be safe.
Nothing. There's nothing. Well, if somebody sees it,
What's the ISS? Brian, what's the ISS?
International Space Station?
Has been cut.
Maybe? I don't know.
Thieves is what he's saying. Well,
That'd be like
ISS
International Space Station. I don't know.
That could be it.
I do know.
don't see anything.
No more Ghost Adventures, Hoggy. That's my boy Augie.
Augie needs more Ghost Adventures.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
He needs more like Uniontown.
Oh, there's nothing here. I looked everywhere. Okay, moving on. Okay, moving on.
We still have an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Wait a minute. I'm going to go to the next topic. Okay. Oh, there was a UFO sighting. Where was it? Shoot, I lost it.
We better go catch it.
Philadelphia. Yeah, really. Come on, you little murkers. I can't. Okay. Now, the next topic is, let's see. Okay. How witchcraft works. How it really works.
Uh-oh.
That's Trisha's idea there, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people think witchcraft is, a witch sits in her, gets her little spell book out and gets a little bit of sage and garlic and candles and, abracadabra.
Shazam.
And maybe if you watched Harry Potter, they have the magic book, and they, if you watch Charmed, do you remember Charmed? Although I don't like Melissa Maloney anymore.
You know what's funny to me though? All these people that are so against witches and witchcraft and everything, yet they own all the Harry Potter books and let their kids watch Harry Potter and all these things. And I'm like, look.
You could just watch The Craft from '96. There you go. That'll explain it all.
Same thing. I mean, it's. I used to think that with my mom used to talk about how my great grandparents and the great uncles and aunts and stuff were very religious, and people back then, everybody in the church even did. What do they call it with the water things where they find water with the
dowsing rods?
Yes. And I'm like, so let's, there's so many things that we do in our everyday life that witches do. It's just other people don't consider it witchcraft. So
what is this sorcery?
Right. People with cooking, for instance, or like homemade potpourri and stuff. There's making oils with different herbs. Farmers' wives do that all the time. That doesn't mean they're, does that make them a witch?
No.
Back then it did.
No, that's what I'm saying. They did all of that back then and weren't considered witches, but it's the same. It's the same thing.
Well, modern witchcraft, like most of the witches that I've watched, like on the shows, like Bewitched and stuff, they're pretty cool. But are they good? Are they evil? I mean, are they trying to do harm? Are they trying?
So most witches, unless it's certain types of voodoo, hoodoo, and I'm not saying all, I'm saying certain types, or black magic. Most of the witches I've ever known, for that matter, regardless of what, there's so many different types of witches. First of all, you have solitary witches, hedge witches, kitchen witches. There's
what's a kitchen witch?
A ditch witch.
Does a kitchen witch make cookies?
Yes.
You can go down to the rental place and get a ditch witch.
They do their spells and casting through cooking and through their intention of cooking. And so there's so many different types, but as far as the ones most modern Wicca or pagans believe harm to none through anything. So they do not, and most witches are considered, are even in some sort of healing career for that matter. So it's very rare to, I mean, it's out there. Yes, people still do black magic and curses and hexes and things like that. But it's the same with thoughts. You know, if you wish harm upon someone, if you wish ill will upon someone, I don't care if you are, you know, a Christian, good person, whatever, that's still putting that intention out there. That's still a form of black magic. You know, if you have hateful thoughts towards people or wish somebody dead, that is a form of black magic because there's an emotion behind it. There's energy behind it. Thoughts are energy.
So witchcraft has energy, like from
I was using black magic.
Emotions form energy.
Really shine my tires.
What's that?
You're an idiot.
I said I was using some black magic. It really shined my tires.
Oh my God. Oh.
So
a bag of peanuts.
Witchcraft is the belief that there's power, emotion behind like a thought.
So, well, right. But also witches use elements to enhance the power and the intention behind their spells. So whether they're using herbs and food or fire or water or air, things like that, it enhances the power behind their intention or that thought.
Jason, go ahead and put your 2 cents in.
Oh,
I know you want to.
Yeah, you can just see it coming from his eyes.
It's like oozing from him.
Sean, what are you thinking? Like I've got I got some thoughts turned. I'm gonna see where you're at.
What I'm thinking about, the witches that I know, okay, here in Pittsburgh, and I know a lot of them and their covens, they're the nicest people on earth. They don't mean no harm to nobody.
No.
No, not at all. In fact, they're the first ones, if you were in trouble or hurting, they'd be the first ones to help you, you know. The only thing when you talk about bad witches, it's the stuff that we saw in the movies a long time ago. Look at the Wizard of Oz, that Wicked Witch of the East, man. Come on. You know, everybody saw that back when that story came out, and everyone thought that black witches were like that, were mean and cast spells. But, you know, even like Trish was saying, the power of thought. You know what I mean? If I wish harm on somebody, it could happen. And then it's not, I'm wishing it, but the universe is actually taking my wish and putting it on somebody. And
the universe cannot differentiate good from bad as far as your, you know, it's like the law of attraction. So, or say, for instance, hypochondriacs, things like that. If they're constantly thinking they have an illness or thinking they're going to get this, then it usually happens. And that's why, because the universe is bringing what they put focus into, what they are energetically bringing into their life. So,
hey, John. John Bentry is joining us tonight. We were talking about witchcraft. And
yeah, I just saw your message. I was watching a cool show on Netflix called Hellbound. It's a Korean show about demons that come for people. It's actually a pretty good show.
Yeah. So we were talking about witchcraft right now. We talked about the black eye ritual in the beginning, and then we switched to the bush. What was it? Pine Bush UFOs. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about now. So what are your thoughts on any of these topics?
Well, you know, it's a funny thing. I think you know my story. I was really 100% taken in by the UFO field until I looked at the religious side of it and went to some religious conferences. But I don't know. I think that anytime you start asking for information that you're not supposed to have, I think you're opening up a doorway. I really do. Even though, you know, the white witchcraft, they're not evil, you know, I've had a lot of women, girlfriends that I think were probably practicing black magic on me.
That's funny.
And
I'll tell you a
the
story.
funny thing is, curses. A lot of people don't believe in curses or hexes or any of that, but I can tell you 100%. Whether you believe in it or not, it can affect your life. The same
Absolutely.
as somebody having, like Sean was saying, like somebody having a bad thought towards you. It's the same thing. But if a witch that you don't know is casting magic against you and bad things start happening in your life, whether you believe it or not, now if you do fear it, that's going to give it more power. But whether you believe it or not, it's still going to affect you.
Yeah, well, it works. It's not like
and ghosts and everything else. Just because people don't believe in them, don't see them, does not mean that they don't exist.
Well, they're wrong to not believe in them because they're absolutely real, and all of that stuff works. If you want to, tap into the dark side and stuff, it all works. And I'll tell you a quick story. I was, I can't remember the year right now, but I was on a dating site and I met this woman, and she said, "Let's meet." We talked a little bit, and she goes, "Oh, I remember you from television, Hangar One." And she goes, "Let's meet. You really like me. I'm into the stuff you're into." So, I meet her at a Mexican restaurant, and
did you
she
say,
says,
"Trust me"?
Trust me, I'm here to help you. No. But she meets me at a Mexican restaurant in Monroeville, and we start talking, and she goes, "I just got back from South Africa. I participated in exorcism." And she said she was there for a month. And I said, "Well, did you have a priest with you? How'd you do this?" She goes, "No." And I said, "Well, what'd you do?" She goes, "I had a voodoo priestess there." And I'm saying to myself, "Really?"
Oh, jeez.
And I said, and I just read, I don't remember if it was Malachi Martin or Gabriel Amorth's book, and they said Brazilian Macumbe and African voodoo is the hardest exorcisms they've ever done. So this woman, she was sitting there talking, and she goes, "I like you." Wink. "I'll come over your house." Wink.
Oh boy.
Listen, and you don't think the devil sends people to you. My eyes have been opened, unbelievable. So she goes, "But first, before I come over," and she was really attractive for a 58-year-old. I'm 64 now. And some of them are really nice looking. But she says to me,
"Hey, I'm 58."
All right, there you go. I asked you if you wanted to go to lunch. You never got back to me. But she says to me, let's get this. She says to me that before I date you and come over, you have to invite the voodoo priestess over your house.
Oh my
And
God.
I said, "What?" And I just read their books, and I knew what she was trying to do. She was trying to get me to say okay and invite it in, and that voodoo priestess was going to bring in a demonic entity much more powerful than the ones I was already dealing with. And this was probably, I think it was 2015 or 16. So that's just real. It's real. I think it's more real than the UFO field. I'm not so certain that there are. Yeah, I'm not sure there's aliens from space, but I know there's malevolent interdimensional entities.
Yeah, my wife went to New Orleans. I think it was last year, and she went to a voodoo shop and got a bunch of little voodoo dolls, for some friends and stuff. And I got one, but they told her when she was down there that unless you're practicing and know what you're doing, you only want to stick with the ones that are for good. Like the one I have is like for good fortune and luck and stuff like that. And, she got all positive ones because they had some down there. She was telling me that, they're like this unless you know what you're doing because this is some serious stuff. So it's really cool to hear a story about that and, putting everything together to, voodoo is some intense stuff that you don't want to mess with.
It is. I mean, I was in New Orleans in '96 and I bought a bone box. It's about that big, and I guess they put bones in it, And when I was having this demonic activity in my house, and my friends were telling me, get rid of it, get holy water, burn it, bury it, bless it with holy water. So I don't think it was the bone box though. I had gone to that antique shop at the West End, right at this West End Circle. huge antique place there. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're
And
talking about. I've seen it. Yep.
and when I was in there, I bought a couple of pieces of furniture, and then there was a glass encased wolf's head with Latin writing on it. And I said, where'd that come from? At the time I didn't know. So I said, where'd that come from? And he goes, it was used in either a carnival or a circus. I'm telling you, that thing, when I brought it into my house, I think there was something attached to it.
I was about to say that's another thing. If you buy things from estate sales, antique shops, mirrors, especially jewelry boxes, things like that, you never know. Especially if it's something handmade, like a hand carved box, things like that. There's energy behind that jewelry. There's energy behind handmade things. So you really have to be careful about what you bring into your house as well.
I agree with you. People go and buy that stuff, and I tell you what happened.
Yep.
I was having exorcist movie type activity in my house.
Oh yeah,
banging, movement in the ceiling. I took that glass case thing, and I took it, and I didn't burn it and put holy water. I took it, I put it out at the curb for trash, and I had it for probably 10 years. And there was a little light in it, and the battery still worked. The eyes of the wolf lit up red. I'm saying, how does this battery still work, right? I put it out and I turned the battery on, so it's out in front of my house with the eyes lit up.
What do you think about
and I got rid of it. But the funny thing is, the amount of activity in the house dropped in half.
Oh, yeah.
The heavy banging sounds were light tapping sounds after that. There was something attached to that thing. And that whole shop there at the West End, that is a creepy, creepy place. You want to do a haunted, Sean, you want to go do a haunted thing? Contact them and ask them if you can come over there. I guarantee you that place is full of spirits at the West End.
What do you think about like a Dybbuk box? Because people sell those on like eBay and stuff. They're sealed up and they claim there's demons trapped in them.
Why would you want it?
Go ahead, tell them, Trish. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, my experience is stay away from all of that stuff. I don't buy antiques. Right. I stay away from that, and I stay away from women that want to bring their voodoo priestess friend in my house.
We have an old decoration.
I know a lot of witches that have dolls and stuff. There are a lot of different forms of witchcraft and voodoo, and that work with different entities for different reasons. So yes, there are a lot of witches that work with demons for specific purpose, not to harm other people necessarily. Sometimes I assume, but for other things in their life. Sometimes for healing. Sometimes for. But it's one of those things that, and I know people that even have dolls that they 100% allowed and know are, have spirits in them attached to them, and that aren't always good. But if they're neutral, as far as black and white magic, they work with them for different spells and stuff.
Dolls creep me out. That's an imitation of life. I do not like dolls.
I won't have dolls.
God, I hate
dolls. Let me
Jason loves them.
Let me tell you something.
I got them everywhere.
When I was 16, I had this lucid dream. And that's not the part I want to tell you, but I had this dream that I opened up the back door in the yard and I went down a cave and there was a demon there. And I was running in slow motion. But that's not the part I want to tell you about. The same night that happened, my sister had this it had to be a 4-foot doll. And she didn't tell me this until years later, 30 years later, when I'm telling her about my stuff. She said, John, that doll, and she wouldn't tell me what happened. Did it turn its head? Did it talk? Did it move? But I remember the following day, she says, she's my sister, she says, take this doll, put it out at the garbage. It was her favorite doll. It was an expensive doll, I took it and I threw it away. That doll moved, talked, walked, did something. She will not discuss it. You talk about post-traumatic stress. She will not tell me what it was.
Oh, no,
but
no
it was
doll.
The same night I had this lucid dream of a demon chasing me.
Oh, wow.
That's a nightmare.
So here's something kind of cool. So while we're talking about objects, we actually have a lot of old antique books, antiques, and we actually have a looks like a horn, like a decorative horn. It's very, very old, and we believe there's a spirit attached to it. Sean, you might remember it.
Yes.
Like our meters and stuff are going off the hook around this thing.
Yes.
Well, it's actually in the our son's room, and now he's 18 months old. And she was just texting me about that, and as she was, he started crying, which is really weird because he's been asleep fine, no problems, and just talking about that. So I wonder if it's ramping up a little bit. Yeah,
I'd take the horn out of that room, dude.
Yeah, take it out of there.
Yeah.
Any object can be possessed. Any spirit is energy. I mean, it can be something electronic. It can be something, a doll, a teddy bear, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. My daughter, I swear, I thought she was possessed one time, but we had gone to this historic site here in Topeka, and there was a doll from the 1800s there that had its eyes closed. And she was probably 3 years old. So while we were standing there, and it was in this creepy old little cradle, and when we were standing there, the doll's eyes popped open. And I'm pretty sure I had it on camera. And my daughter,
get that doll out of here.
Yeah, my daughter got scared, and she was standing there, and the tour guide said as long as she had worked there, that doll's eyes had never been opened ever. In like years.
Trisha, have you ever gone to any of those witches balls? Witches, I tell you, I see them sometimes on Facebook events,
like
and they'll have
ones or like a real one.
Well, I think there's a couple of them that are actual real witches get together and balls. They're always sold out. It's like 500 people go to them. I know Ligonier had a witches thing like 2 weeks ago, but those are just witchy women that dress up.
Real witch festivals aren't advertised. So
yeah, I don't think if you're a real witch, why would you want to advertise it?
You know where it was? It was on Meetup. There was
the only way we can get away with that is around Halloween.
Yeah, well, there was a witches group on Meetup that I had joined years ago, and sometimes I get their messages, and it said they were having their yearly gala. I'm telling you, this place was sold out. I couldn't even buy a ticket. I couldn't buy a ticket. Probably 10 times more people than attend UFO conferences.
Yeah, so the problem, though, with modern, new age witchcraft and these baby witches and everything is they do go buy things, like in these voodoo shops that are meant for harm, or they'll go, everywhere now, even in the mall, you see Spencer's selling Ouija boards and all this stuff and talking about tarot cards and everything. And they don't know anything about it. So yes, I 100% believe these people who have no idea what they're doing are opening portals and doing black magic unintentionally, just because they don't know what they're doing, and it is dangerous. So
do you try to tell people that they're inadvertently, I think they call it divination in the Bible, that you're not supposed to do that stuff, and you open a portal. I've talked to so many people once I made that change from UFOs and I started looking at demonology. So many people have come to me, and then as you question them, you find, I had tarot cards, I had a Ouija board, I had this, I had that, and all of a sudden they had activity start.
Yeah. And they don't actually believe it until that stuff starts affecting their lives and happening to them, and people start getting sick in their household and pets and things like that. And then that's when they come back to people like me who tried to tell them not to do that. And they say, how can you help me? So going back to modern witchcraft that most people I know do, it is more for themselves, for healing purposes, if I'm going to do some sort of spell like kitchen magic or something, it's more living with intention. I'll have certain herbal tea that resonates with a certain part of the body that, if I have arthritis that flares up or something, that I want to heal that. So I will picture whatever herb that is coming from the earth and how it helps our body and healing me, and that's how most modern day witches that I know, that's all we do. We don't, go out cursing people and.
Well, speaking of portals, let me just throw this out there.
Oh boy.
When you pray, are you opening up a portal up to heaven?
Well, I think it's good energy. I think that there's a connection there. There's a spiritual connection, just like the opposite with the black magic.
Yeah.
And when somebody says they want to put a curse on you, they want to harm you. I think our brains are so powerful. And you think about this. I don't believe in evolution. I believe in creation. And I think Adam and Eve, probably had a 300 IQ. They had a direct telepathy to God. And we still have some of these latent traits in us that they had. This was a normal way of living for the first couple of generations, after Adam and Eve. And it's still in there somewhere. But I think, we use 8% of our brain. What if we use 40%?
I think everybody has that capability. We just, lose it based on the toxic things we do in our lives.
Yeah, or generation after generation, you're getting farther and farther away from the line, and you're losing some of that ability. And we don't practice it,
And it's the same thing as prayer groups, or even in church when the entire congregation prays for someone who's sick or injured or something. That makes it even more powerful because it's more people putting the intention behind that energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Who wants to take that comment?
My mom did a Ouija board when I was little. Then I got home.
I agree. I agree.
Highly possible.
Definitely.
It's like opening your
Now,
front door to
cyber demon. Did you play with the Ouija board too?
You have to be 8 to play with that.
No,
I think
not
you have
enough.
to be 18 to buy them now, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, really? You have to be 18 to buy a Ouija board?
In some stores, yeah.
Well, at one
wonder
time
about
they
that.
were selling them off the shelves. You just go to a toy store and they were selling
Yeah, like
them
Hill,
they were nothing.
Ames,
A couple of
Kmart.
years ago, when I was a Rotary Club president in New Stanton Youngwood, just a couple of years ago, we'd go and buy Christmas toys for kids. So we get a list from the elementary school, Stanwood, and I went into Target to buy all these gifts, and I'm in the toy area.
Oh,
The demons
what's the
got him
irony in
again.
that?
The demons
boy.
got him again.
Ah, is that
Oh.
irony, ain't it? Oh my goodness.
Oh wow!
About to talk about a Ouija board. And
Yeah, you got to watch John. He
Holy
has the
smokes.
demons that hang around him.
Yeah, they must not want him to talk about it.
I think that's
But
right.
Cyber Demon, let me ask you that question again. Did you also play with that Ouija board?
He's cyber demon. Sean wants to know if you played with the demon. Did you play,
Jeez.
did
you play
you
with
play
demons?
with the demon too? No.
Were they sitting there playing army figures with you or
He probably
what?
fell asleep. I don't know. Well, we're gonna move on from demons. Since John,
Holy crap, man!
yeah, he
Yeah, I
said-
was little, thought it was fun.
Really? Okay, there you go, Cyber.
You know,
Are you
I had
sure
a
you're
friend of
his
mine.
mom took him in
A
the
And
friend
we
of mine a
used it.
very long
Okay.
time ago in like early teens, he was telling me a story about how him and some buddies were playing with an Ouija board. They didn't know what they were doing, and they had like candles lit and all this stuff. And they said it got really intense and like stuff started flying around the room. And I was like, that's impossible. But
No, it can't happen.
you know, back then we didn't know any better. I wasn't part of that. He just told me
Now,
the story about it. And I was like, holy smokes.
a lot of times depending on the people who are doing it or participating in a Ouija board, it can also be their own energy. It can be like poltergeist activity, because think about it, especially with kids, if they're all sitting around a Ouija board and expecting something scary to happen, that's a lot of anxiety. That's a lot of energy behind that. And that can actually stir up
Open up a
energy in the
portal.
environment that manifests things happening that might not even be supernatural related.
What happened,
Okay,
John?
let me
You got
ask
Hey,
kidnapped
John, welcome
by
back.
aliens or
You
demons?
know what?
Let me ask you a question, Chris.
I'll tell you something interesting. When I get into these discussions, I've had 4 other radio shows I was on. And, when I start talking about the paranormal side, not UFOs, the paranormal side, it goes down. I've had Kevin Smith called me twice, said somebody was trying to take the broadcast down, and twice it did go down. One time there was a helicopter hovering over my house for about 5 minutes.
They're coming for you.
It's not when I talk about UFOs, when I talk about the demonic. And this light behind me over here, you keep an eye on it and you see if it doesn't start brightening and dimming. I don't know if I throw off energy, but it happens.
They're after you, John.
I have a question for Trish. Now I have a friend that is a witch, okay, but she also uses a Ouija board. Me and her used to duke it out for like hours on end. She said that if you is it possible to use the Ouija board for good too?
Yes. Yeah, I think it is. I think especially for beginning mediums and such, because sometimes it's really hard to interpret messages from spirits just, I guess telepathically or in our mind or however they send messages. So a Ouija board would help with that, it would assist in that, and it wouldn't necessarily be bad or evil. The problem with that is you can't always control what you're calling in.
Right.
Just, you can't just, you can say open to only spirits of the highest good or, white light, things like that. But when you open that, it's kind of an open door to channel almost anything that wants to come in, unless it's somebody who knows what they're doing. So absolutely.
How many demons do you think are out there? Like, you think there's one for every person, one for every million people? Like, so you use a Ouija board, you contact a dead person or an angel, but then, what's the chances a demon is lurking around? How many do you think there really are out there?
There's probably just as many.
What is it, like
regular angels.
5,000? There's a number on it, John.
How many legions
Thousands of demons are out there.
Legions of demons that they're mentioned in the Bible, and they were cast out of heaven. So
But
Well,
those are the only ones that were talked about in the Bible, right? There's a book on demonology, and there's a book has the name of every demon in it.
Right.
That what it represents.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of demons.
I just read Enoch last week, and with his vision of heaven while he was taken up to heaven, he said basically described in heaven millions and millions of angels. There were so many. So if Satan took 1/3, I mean, who knows how many? There's different types of demons. You have the fallen angels. You have the watchers that mated with women. That was 200. But yet their offspring, when they died, the Nephilim became demons. And you can also, somebody who's, like got no soul, like Hitler, etc., they can become demons afterwards. Yeah. So who knows how many there are.
And it's the same with angels. You've got the different levels of hierarchies of angels.
Yeah, 9. Yeah, there's 9 levels. And here's the thing too, Tricia. Did 9 levels of demons go with Satan, or was it just 3 or 4 of the bottom levels? Because in the Bible it says we're battling against powers and principalities, right? Right, but it doesn't mention cherubim, seraphim, thrones, etc. Those were the higher levels. I don't think they went with Satan. I think that just the bottom, maybe 4 levels went. Angels, fallen angels, powers, and principalities went with Satan.
Thanks, Augie, for that number.
How many?
A lot. 133,316.
Wow.
So
166.
going back,
is that for real, or he just made that up?
No, he looks into stuff like that.
So that's one for every 50 people. Then you have a demon for every 50 people, based on 7.5 billion people.
Hey, John, off the story here, what we're talking about, Boots the Cat on our listener wants to know, are you still running for governor?
Yeah, I'm still running for governor, and I probably shouldn't be doing these shows. But I figure there's so much they can come after me. There's so much they can come after me for. I don't care. And I'm not changing one thing for the politicians and the newspapers. I'm doing my thing, and if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass.
I think that's more authentic.
Well, it is. I am. What you see is what you get. And people who know me know what you see is what you get. I don't lie.
That's the truth.
My belief in the universe is what is meant for you will always be. So as long as you stand in your truth, then you're protected.
And I think there's a reason I'm running. I feel that. I say like I'm such an underdog. Those well-known politicians, there's 6 or 7 running. They got millions of dollars. I'm funding my own campaign. But I just got this feeling I'm supposed to be doing this.
Yeah. Look at the dude from New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm the Ed
driver.
Ed Durr. I'm the Ed Durr of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
There you go, John. There you go.
But,
okay, we're gonna move on from demons to
elementals.
Deja vu.
Oh, deja vu. Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Yeah. So I just had something here I wanted to talk about, but I can't find it.
Deja vu?
Yeah, deja vu. How does it work?
I got a theory about that.
What is
You want to hear it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, please.
Well, everybody thinks that deja vu means you lived past lives because you have these memories, but I actually only a couple of months ago I was thinking about this, because I tell you what, I went to Europe with my kids when my son graduated Penn State, and we were in Florence, and when we turned the corner to the main square in Florence, I knew I had been there. It looked so familiar to me. I had seen it. I felt like I had been there numerous times, right? Mm-hmm. So, but at the time I said, well, I must have been, I am Italian 3/4, so maybe I had been there. But here's my thought now. I think when you're in heaven as a soul, you're watching everything that's going on down here. I think that deja vu is a memory of you watching for hundreds of years before your soul is called to enter a body. I think that's what it is. I don't think it meant you lived before. I think you lived one time, but I think you had viewed everything from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I think that too. Or it could be like like what did Augie say? Like what Augie's saying, it's sort of like the metrics that you're going into a different realm, that you're not that one particular moment you're there, but then you actually are back where you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like sort of like the Matrix.
Or could you actually call it time traveling?
It could be.
Could be.
See, that's my thought. I don't really believe in even in psychics and stuff. I believe either somebody's telling us that information, spirits, aliens, whoever, government projects, or we've already been there. So I think it's either time travel or an outside source.
Let me tell you something else why I think it's a view from heaven. Is my daughter had her son, right? And 2 years later, the second son was born. So that means the first one was about a little over 2 years old when he was born. And he says to us, he said to his mother that we were in heaven watching, and I was standing there with my brother. And of course, then I said, were you standing there with any others? And he said, no, it was just us two. And he was crying because he didn't know if he was going to get born because it was my turn to go first. How does a 2-year-old say that? How does he say that? So,
that's crazy.
So my mind is, even though my daughter says she's going to have more kids, I got a feeling she's only having those 2, and that's it. But that's why I say, that's why I believe they see everything. They see it. And I think all of those kids that got aborted, they were in heaven waiting for their turn. This was their turn, and they got aborted, and they didn't get their chance. Whether that means they get refunneled in the guff and they come back 100 years later, I don't know, but they're probably up there crying because their mother didn't want them.
Well, I had a theory about, I had a dream about it one time when I passed, and then I passed this abortion sign, and it just all, I literally had like this emotional breakdown when I had this epiphany once about abortion, that and murder and things like that, as far as like even murder of adults. I mean, I'm not an abortion, but there's a balance, there's a universal law and balance system in the world, so I believe that anytime, it's like anytime someone dies, that's when a soul can come in, right? So then there's someone, that's a lot of the reincarnation beliefs and such. So with abortion and even murder and things like that, I think it disrupts the natural balance. So that means if something is killed or whatever, then it's going to affect the next one that was in line to come in, right? Because it's out of balance. Because
like a butterfly effect
in this world.
It's like the butterfly effect, it's a cause and relation. Let me just answer Joni here. She said, if I always lived in PA, I've been here almost 25 years, but I grew up in New York. Good.
That's why he still has that little bit of a New York
Can't
accent.
get rid of it. I lived in Oklahoma. I worked in Europe. I can't get rid of it.
Well, that's okay. Keep talking,
cool.
brother.
All right.
Yeah. So going back to Deja Vu, I really think that it's like you go somewhere and you felt like you've been there, or you keep sort of like you said, the butterfly effect. You keep doing the same thing over until you get it right. Maybe that this life is. You keep doing it over until you go on the right path. What do you think? Doesn't that sound like it could be something like that too?
Because in hypnotherapy, I learned that as well, that our subconscious and our higher conscious, when we learn that deja vu in hypnotherapy is basically your mind remembering almost an exact similar situation you've been in before.
Yeah.
And I even realized that with myself and in my life, thanks to Facebook memories. I was wanting, I moved to a completely different town, and all of a sudden one day I was wanting to take my kids to a specific restaurant out of the blue. I had never been there in this town before. I had only been to the franchise in another town, and it popped up later that day on my memories. Same day, same time. I had been there like 3 years earlier.
I know that happens to me with Facebook too. Like I even wore the same shirt once.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my.
So we end up going back to similar places, similar restaurants, doing the same thing, basically.
Doing the same hair color, it's just goofy things.
What if like deja vu is actually like a cross between like dimensions, like figure your mirror of you in another dimension, and then deja vu is actually when you both like cross and have done the same thing.
Well, there's like those movies
like
that there's another
side.
Earth. There's like an Earth that looks just like this Earth, and there's another view on this other planet, like which is Earth.
Oh, that's scary. Another Sean.
You love me, man. You love me.
It's funny. My brother has a lot of memories from another life, that he had lived, and you hear about that. People who are so fascinated with World War II or Civil War. With me, I had nothing that would relate to the modern era, let's say from guns. There's an affinity with me with metal and swords and knives. So if I lived before, I was in Rome or Egypt or something. It was not in the last 500 years, with guns. And I'll tell you something happened one time at work. I had to look over every claim payment and I had to sign them. So they become kind of standard. You're just like automatic writing, So I'm signing my name. And all of a sudden on one claim, I signed Jack and I stopped myself. And I looked at it and I said, why did I sign Jack? I wish I didn't stop myself, because whatever that was, I would have signed a completely different last name and I would have found something out. I saw it and I stopped myself, and then it kind of broke it.
Huh.
So I don't know who the Jack was. Jack.
You don't know Jack. Does anybody remember?
I don't know Jack. I don't know Jack anything. I know Jack Daniels.
With doppelgangers, the theory behind that. So I think that, I have many theories on that, whether it's like alien clones or like yourself from another dimension or whatever. But that's actually happened in my own life. There was a time a few years ago, it was within a week, people would tell me they 100%, they're like, I saw you, at a certain location or something. And I'm like, there's no way I was there. And even, I had gone to pick up my kids at the babysitters after I got off work. And the person there said, where did you go? I was just talking to you about half an hour ago. And I'm like, what? I don't know what you're talking, so it was multiple people within a specific period of time said they had seen me or even talked to me. And there was no way I was there. Like, I 100% hadn't even clocked out of work. There's no way I could possibly be in two places at one time. So how do you explain, is it
there was a guy at the gym. There was a guy at the gym years ago, and I occasionally talk to him while we're working out. And one time I saw him, I don't know if it was at Seven Springs or whatever, we were talking, and we got into this big conversation. And he goes, oh, yeah, my son knows your son and all of that. And I said, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And I said, so your son went to Penn State? He goes, no, my son went to WVU. I said, well, my son graduated Penn State. I got a son and a daughter. He goes, aren't you? He goes, I know you. And I said, well, I know you occasionally. I know, some women you dated because I tried to date them. He goes, no, your name is whatever, right? And I said, no, that's not me. He goes, there's a guy in town who looks exactly like you. And he kept looking at me. He says, no, your name's not John. Your name is this. He looks exactly like you. And his son went to WVU. I said, sorry, man. That's not, I'd like to meet the guy. I hope he never commits a crime and it's on video because they're going to
Speaking of that, so this is years ago in my early 20s. A buddy of mine sends me this picture and he's like, dude, did you do something that you shouldn't have been doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? So I see this picture. It was a guy, had the same bandana I was wearing, same hair, same facial hair. We looked like identical twins. He was robbing a convenience store.
Oh my
That's
God.
what he was doing. And my buddy's like, dude, please tell me this wasn't you. I'm like, I have no idea who that is. So I start sweating bullets because it looks exactly like me, And I was like, I hope that somebody doesn't come knocking at my door.
But it could happen.
It could.
It could happen. Yeah.
I
Where'd
even
Sean
had
go?
a scary. I was leaving a gas station, and I saw this missing poster on the wall.
And it was your picture? It was your picture?
Just in passing. And I like did a double take and I'm like, that's weird. This girl that was missing was the same age, same hair color, same haircut, same height, weight, everything. Like even some of the same tattoos for that matter. And I think they found her body a few months later. But yeah, that kind of freaked me out. I was like, that's really scary actually.
Well, you got to think about it. 7.5 billion people. How many different faces can there be? I mean, even if there's only 1 million different types of faces, so that leaves hundreds of people that look very similar.
Yeah. So we're moving on, buddies. We're moving on to elementals. But it seems like my internet is.
Did you get something to eat, Sean? Did you have the belly grumbles again?
No,
like the last 2 weeks.
No, I'm telling you what. I think my sugar's bad because, man, I've been good.
Well, you should probably get a fresh bag from the store you work at.
You're funny.
No, you're silly.
You're sick in the head, dude.
Once I go see my new endocrinologist
You're
yesterday,
sick in the head.
And she's talking to me about my blood sugars and stuff, and she says,
funny.
"Well, how's your sugar at home?" And I just straight told her, I was like, "It's delicious." She about hit the floor.
I use brown sugar.
Brown sugar.
You're something wrong with your mind here, dude. Go to Oklahoma and do some welding. By the
know.
way, that was a nice weld job you did.
Oh, thank you. I just finished that.
You
up,
need a welder,
yesterday.
anybody? Call Jason because he can weld. He's good.
Mobile Welding, S&B Welding. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
Well, the one comment here by Joni that's still in the box there. She says children are more open-minded than adults. I think it's not really open-minded. I think they just left, like my opinion, that they're in heaven watching, and they got this connection to the spirit world, and that's still there for the first couple of years. I think they can see spirits. I mean, I was in the car with my daughter and the kids, and he's the firstborn. He's looking up and he's doing the Hulk kind of thing and looking up, giggling like he's looking at something there, from the car seat. And I'm looking up and say, I don't see anything. What are you looking at? I think he saw something, and maybe that Spirit was doing that like the Hulk, and he was doing that same type of thing. But they got a connection there. That's why all four of my grandkids, I asked them questions. I ask them, what do you remember? What do you remember about being born? Do you remember heaven? And it's the firstborn that gives me all these answers. The others haven't so far.
Well, my son was on the show. Let's see, was it a while ago that a psychic said, what did he say? That she could see his baby in heaven, and they were watching over it before he's born. So maybe there is something like that.
There's a lot of psychics that can communicate with spirit babies.
Yeah.
Well, I think I told you, like maybe the last time I was on, when my daughter had that first baby, right? She texted me that she had gone to the hospital. I didn't know that. I'm sleeping, right? And I wake up and it was like almost 7 o'clock. It was about 10 to 7. And I wake up, and as I'm coming out, I have a lot of dreams. I'm coming out. I see this silhouette of a woman there, and she says to me, I'm still asleep, I'm coming out of it, and she says, your daughter's in a field of butterflies. So I wake up, and this was right after meeting the woman with the voodoo priestess a few months later, right? So I said to myself, what is that? A field of butterflies? Is this something to do with this voodoo woman putting a spell on me or something, And so I get up and I check my phone, and it's the message said I just went into labor, and it was like, no, it was the message was at 4 something. So I text my son, your sister went into labor at 6:57. I don't know why it said 6:57, because the message was at like 4:03 a.m. right? So a few minutes later, I'm thinking to myself, what does angels mean? So I go look it up on the computer after I get up and I have my coffee, and it says the butterfly is the soul of a child before it comes into the mother for birth. So I then tell my daughter, I text her and I said what it means. And she goes, Dad, get out of here. I'm sitting here in the hospital. The TV's on and there's yellow butterflies on the screen. And a kid gets born at 6:57, which I originally texted my son. The kid was born at 6:57 in the evening, even though I texted
everything is relevant. People don't believe that until they start looking back on things like that. So even if you think you did or said something by accident, it's always relevant. I don't believe in coincidences.
And you have some connections. And I tell you, when I had that demonic stuff in my house and this was going on, I had some minimal telepathic abilities. Like there were things I just knew was going to happen. We did the baptism on that firstborn, and we went to the church and everything. We came home, and then they said we're going over the brother's house. I had this overwhelming feeling we were going to get in a car accident, and the baby was going to get hurt. And I didn't say anything. I said to my daughter, can you put a pillow on the side of him, like between him and the glass and stuff? And she looked at me. We get in the car. There's like 4 of us. We're the third car. The light turns green. 1 car, 2 car goes. We're in the third car. We go. I turn to the left. Here's this car barreling right through the light. It just T-bones us right on the side with the baby. And I knew it was going to happen. I wish I would have told everybody, let's not go. There's something, but I did want to go in the car with my daughter and the baby. And the baby was fine. It's funny. The 3 adults in the car were all had whiplash. The baby was fine. He screamed and he was fine after that.
Well, I agree with you on that, because like I'll plan on going somewhere, and then all of a sudden something comes up, and I'm like about 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late doing something. And then when I get to the place, I find out that there was a major car accident. You know what I mean? That happened, and I was going in that direction, and I'm thinking that 15 minutes, that if I would have left right on time, I would have probably been in that accident.
And I'm superstitious that way because let's say I'm ready to go to the gym and then it's like, oh, I got to check something and I get on my laptop and then I say to myself, I'm ready to go. And I say, well, you know what? I'm leaving now 15 minutes later. Should I be leaving 15 minutes later? Is that good or bad? Because I'm very superstitious about that stuff. You know, did you put yourself in
so many times in my own life that, you know, all of a sudden my keys or something turn up missing right when I'm going to leave the house. And I know I always put them in the same place and I'll find them somewhere crazy, like, you know, but it'll take me 10, 15 minutes to find them. And then I'll hear about an accident that would have been in my path or something will spill or, you know, something will happen with one of my pets or like they'll get out and I'll be chasing them around. But it's always actually saved me from something that I probably would have been involved in. So I never get mad about, you know.
It's crazy how all that works. I've had that, you know, several instances myself. You know, I come up on something, whether, you know, it was a wreck or, you know, just the other day I was heading to work and there was a landslide just minutes before I drove down this road, you know, to work. And it's, you know, I got up late. I left 10 minutes later than normal. You know, I could have been smashed in that. Who knows? You know,
Did you ever
I believe it all happens for a reason.
Did you ever have when you're a kid and one of your shoes is missing, your sneaker or something? You could only find one, and you need both, obviously. That happened to me all the time as a kid. I knew I put my 2 sneakers right there. Then when it's time to get dressed for school, whatever, I'm looking. I only got one, and a lot of times I don't find it until like a week later.
Good.
Oh, wow.
There's
Little
a
goblins
reason.
got it.
So, well, that goes into elementals. I was going to say that too. Sometimes there are tricksters in your house, but
Yeah, let's talk about the elementals. Those little earth creatures, nature's angels.
Oh, they're cool. I do believe in leprechauns. I will tell you that.
Okay, so why do you believe in a
pot of gold.
leprechaun? Did you ever see one?
Did I ever see one? No. But
Are you Irish? Are you Irish?
My Irish upbringing.
They make
There
some
you
great
go.
lucky charms, tell you that.
I'll tell you what. You know, when I go prospecting gold, I get some gold. And I know that leprechaun's hanging around me. You know what I mean? So.
Well, not all leprechauns are nice, Sean. I heard they're a little nasty.
Did you watch the movie Leprechaun? Is that why you said that?
Well, yeah, I watched
Yeah.
that too.
Okay. There we go. Thank you, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Leprechaun,
Hollywood.
gremlins, blah, blah, blah.
I'll tell you
No,
a
seriously,
story.
there's a lot of them. Go
I
ahead,
mean,
Sean.
Yeah, and I said the story again, but for new viewers, when I was living in an apartment building, I had my son over because me and his mother were divorced. And what happened was we were sitting outside in the garden, and all of a sudden we saw these little white lights going off in the garden. You know,
Ladybugs?
no, not at all. It wasn't that time of the year for the lightning bugs. And so he said, Daddy, look. And so the next morning we go back out there and there's a perfect mushroom ring around where we saw the lights. And I was like, damn, that was a fairy ring. And
What did you see? A mushroom?
mushroom ring.
I never seen one of those.
Can you explain that to Trish? Trish, can you explain that?
So fairy rings are there's so many legends and folklore that say, you know, people used to get drawn into the fairy rings and stuck in them if they didn't, or danced to death, things like that. There's so many different stories. But there's been so many reports also like Sean's about fairies and usually in forests and things, but obviously sometimes in people's backyards. And it seems that every time there's fairies spotted, they leave a ring of mushrooms. Now, in my experience, I believe in larger fairies as well. You know, if you see a giant ring of trees, things like that, a lot of times that can be a fairy ring, or different kind of arches and gateways in the forest can also be a fairy ring. Now, if you disrespect the animals or the land, the fairies and the a lot of other elementals obviously have been said to trap or lead people astray or even harm them. So
that's a fairy ring.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, a fairy ring.
Why is there a commercial on
I mean,
here?
this sucker was perfect.
What do you think about going into the forest? Like, do you hike, or what about going into a forest at night? Do you have any fear of that?
No, I do it all the time. I love it. I love the forest. I feel more grounded and connected in nature. And I honestly think that I'm probably more protected there, actually. We had a reader on a few weeks ago that said I have past life ancestors related to fairies, which is interesting because I've always kind of been drawn to, the plants and animals and preserving nature and stuff. So
I watched that show on travel, Terror in the Woods, and I like that show. But I don't know, forest, and that creeps me out, man. If there isn't a direct path in and out, and I'll tell you why. In a lot of the reading I do to write my books and the research, I've always come across where, whether it was Native Americans or it was the Vikings, whoever it was, they would banish the spirit to the woods. So they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't perform an exorcism. It was like somebody had a spirit in them, whatever. They would somehow manage to banish it to the woods. So I think, all of these evil spirits are in the woods with the missing 411 and, even Blair Witch with Ellie Kendrick, I don't want to go in the woods.
There's a lot of spirits in the woods next to my house too, so don't worry.
Yeah, there are.
There's good ones and bad ones over there.
Yep.
But I think it is important that you have to be able to discern from your own thoughts. A lot of, I've learned that through meditation and things, because you can quiet your mind more. But because there are some that would, lead you right off a cliff, the evil ones and stuff. So you have to be able to discern your own inner compass, your own, knowing when it's yourself trying to guide, following paths and things like that, and not getting lost or trusting animals or things like that. But I'm very conscientious about it. Many witches also bring offerings to the forest elementals, fruit, or whatever. We pick up trash when we see it. We do good things so we don't get on the bad side of the fae, because I'm very superstitious about that.
What do you think, Jenny? What do you believe?
I believe that carnation instant breakfast is the best drink. And especially for this holiday season, you might want to pick up some evaporated carnation milk to make your pumpkin pie. And it'll be a delightful treat for your family. So thank you for sponsoring this second half of Chasing Prophecy Radio, Carnation.
Can we get reincarnation milk?
Probably.
I had some
I don't know.
carnation the other day.
When we're talking about elementals and fairies and things like that, it kind of gives me a feeling of the Earth's divas, floating around and stuff like that, and you have the fairies. But the part that I don't like are the elementals that are not very friendly, and there are some.
Like what?
Like the leprechauns and the gnomes, and there are gnomes, because I believe there is, and the little trolls that live under the bridge, the little the tricksters and the spirits that aren't really happy and friendly. What's that?
I just had a loud bang on the roof.
I heard it. I heard that bang.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, it's a thunderbird coming in.
Hey, see the light? You see the light flickering?
Coming to get you.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it. It just started flickering.
Well, I thought you got rid of all your spirits.
I don't think you can ever get. It's flickering again. I don't think you could ever get. It's flickering. My daughter.
Oh, we should show them the video of the light getting turned off upstairs in my house.
Yeah.
My sister and her daughter and her husband came out to visit, and they stayed upstairs where we had a lot of haunted activity in my daughter's room. And they told me the next morning they were up until like 12:31, and the daughter falls asleep in my daughter's bedroom, and she says, and my sister says it was probably 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. There was such a loud bang up in the attic that if they weren't awake, she was awake, but the others woke up from it. The daughter woke up from her dream, and she said the next morning, she tells me, Uncle John, I was dreaming I was in the room and the closet turned into a doorway and there was something there pulling me in and I
Oh,
was
wow.
getting pulled into the doorway. This is the room where my daughter got attacked by shadow people back in 2010. And I hear that sometimes when I lay down. There's such a loud, and sometimes the bang is above me in the attic and at the opposite end of the house, like a split second later, boom. How can it be, even if it was a bird or something that wouldn't hit that quickly?
Yeah.
They're still around. Once they mark you, they're always there.
So
And
you think they don't leave, the demons?
nah, I live next to a cemetery. I think they're here.
Oh, there you go.
They,
There you go, John.
and they come and
Yeah.
go.
There
I'll
you
have
go.
I'll have like 2-3 months where I have activity, then I have nothing for 6 months, a year. But
That's
there's
the same
always
thing that
periods,
goes on here.
always periods where they come back.
Yeah, that with the
Do you
cemetery.
find that they come back at a certain, like a more frequent time of the year?
Thanksgiving has been the most frequent time that it's ever happened. Has been around Thanksgiving.
Maybe they're pilgrims.
Not
Jeez.
Halloween. Not Halloween.
No,
John?
no. I think Halloween. I used to celebrate Halloween to fix the whole house up and everything, and I stopped doing that about 4 years ago, and I have all these decorations just sitting. I think that opens the door because we don't realize what we're doing for Halloween. But I always used to get my kids for Thanksgiving and Christmas. They were with their mother, but I always had my 2 kids for Thanksgiving, and we all 3 of us would have paranormal experiences in the house. And so I think it has something to do with the fact that I have my kids around Thanksgiving. And that attack on me in 2016, that started Thanksgiving week. And it's a funny story. My daughter was going to come out with, she's married with 2 kids. They were coming out. They were staying. They said they were staying in my house for a couple of nights, and then her brother's house. And on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, she tells me, "Dad, we're not staying there. We're staying all 5 nights at Nolan's." Right? And I was annoyed. I said, I got this 5-bedroom house. You're not going to stay here. The minute she told me that, all of a sudden, and it's funny, on Monday and Tuesday of that week, I went upstairs and I used to keep the bedroom doors closed and turn the vents off in the winter. And her bedroom door on Monday was open, even though it was closed. I closed it again. Tuesday, the door was open. The only 2 times this ever happened, because they knew she was coming back to the house. And they couldn't wait. They couldn't wait. They opened the door because they knew she was coming and they were waiting. And so I'm on the phone, and on Wednesday, when she says she's not coming, it turned on me, which is fine. I'd rather have it on me than her. And I got into a demonic attack, being poked in my leg, poked in my forehead, and then all this crazy activity in the ceiling, banging sounds, creaking sounds, sliding sounds, knocking sounds, and it took a long time to get that out. Whatever was there, that was the voodoo priestess, whatever she wanted to bring in.
Can we investigate your house?
What was that?
Can we come over and investigate your house?
Well, I tell you what, if I have that activity start up again, this is Halloween week, and I don't think it's going to happen. Could happen next year. But this time around, I've never brought people in to record because I wasn't interested in that. But I think if it happens again, I'm going to bring some ghost hunters in and say, "Bring your
we got all
equipment."
kinds of
we'll be
equipment.
ready.
Yeah, we'll be there.
So,
Bring your equipment.
Oh, we got plenty of it.
have you killed a moth lately?
Male or female? If it was male, it was Mothman.
Well, I don't know. All of a sudden I heard there's something about a moth in your house.
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you something funny. I lit the wood burning stove about a week ago, and when I opened the door and stuff, and I'm putting the wood, a moth came out. That's the only thing that came out of it, and the damn thing was attacking me. It was like in my face and my eyes, hitting me, and I slapped it down. I didn't know if it was a wasp. I didn't know what it was, and it was on my shirt, and I just hit it, and it turned to powder. So I killed Mothman.
Yeah.
So we got an interesting comment in the since we're talking about some paranormal stuff here from Dover Paratech. They say when I am on investigations, I find that I am scatter-minded and can't focus properly, almost as if something is preventing me from doing so. What is the best way to ground and center myself? That's a good question.
That's a real good question.
That's a real good one.
I have to do that a lot in certain locations. because the same thing happens to me, and I'll completely lose focus, and it's a really terrible feeling. But there's a lot of things I do. There's essential oils you can use to stay grounded. You can use other protection. Of course, there's sage and things like that, as well as I'll wear certain jewelry. Seems to keep me more grounded. I have like a copper bracelet. I have certain silver things depending on the location. Sometimes certain locations are given there's an actual stronger magnetic field in certain locations, which seems to affect my intuition and clairvoyance and things like that. So depending on the location, I guess would determine how I ground myself. But it's important to go outside. If you're doing an investigation in a building, to get outside, to get some fresh air, to, I don't know, go near a tree, touch the ground, do something to get away from that energy for a minute before you go back in and can focus better.
See, I think, with investigations, I feel like it could be something, could be distracting you, something that doesn't want you, to be found or whatever.
Right.
But also, I found, being an investigator myself, that sometimes you subconsciously get so excited for the investigation and using different equipment that you forget what you're even doing. Like, well, I got to do this, or I want to do that, and then before you know it, it's over, and it's like, what did I actually get done?
Right, Jason. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
that's how it was for me. Because to me, the excitement is calling the person, setting the date, getting the equipment together, going out to the house. And I am so built, there's so much stuff going around, so much energy going around me, that when I get to the place, I have to take a step back, and I have to just like push all the energy down through my body, through my feet, down into the ground, and just to cleanse myself. Then I can go in and do what I got to do.
Yeah, you're just
take a
grounding.
couple deep breaths, grab something to drink, just kind of
You can use water to ground yourself. If you picture the water as a grounding element.
Yeah, how many times we've been on an investigation, Sean? We're the ones that have been really active. We get so excited and pumped up, then we lose track of kind of what we're doing. We're like, okay, let's take 5.
Yeah,
let's go outside, get a breath of fresh air, calm down, and then we can go back in and focus even better on what we're doing and get better results.
Absolutely. We do that all the time. We do that a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then when you got like 4 or 5 people on the investigation with us, you have to consider what their energy's going through. What I mean? And so trying to deal with 5, 6 other people's energy at one time, it's like, all right, outside for a minute.
let's take a chill pill.
And then just go back and just go back to the investigation. And usually after that first break, everything goes smooth. But to me, it's crazy. But the energy now, and after the investigation, I am so damn tired. I am so hungry. Honest to God.
Your energy.
I know. I've seen your meals at Eden Park.
Yeah, man. They don't have the buffets no more. And Saturday night, midnight buffets after investigation.
Please,
man,
Eden Park, if you're listening, bring that back.
God, I'm telling you, man. I used to eat like a pig.
Oh, when I was in high school, every Saturday.
Honestly, I think it helps if you have a plan also. If you're investigating a building and you kind of have a plan as to, okay, I'm going to investigate the first floor, second floor, whatever, and you kind of stay on track. It's hard. I mean, obviously with spirits, they're unpredictable most of the time, so you can't, it's hard to stick to like a very detailed plan. But as far as staying on track and kind of staying focused in that, I think helps. I have ADHD, so I have to do that with everything in my life. But there's like,
I hope we answered your question, Dover.
Yeah. Well, thank you, did. Well, thanks for joining. I'm just sitting here listening. You're
gonna fall asleep, girl.
She's grounding herself right now.
I'm grounding my sleep.
Short circuiting to the ground.
You didn't get no nap today?
No.
No.
I was
Okay.
busy preparing for Thanksgiving. We have so much to do, and
What are you making? What are you making? You gonna make a
what-
turkey?
we're having turkey and stuffing and butternut squash casserole, mashed potatoes, green beans, mushrooms, like roasted
Sean, you got some
mushrooms.
saliva coming out right here.
I have.
No, I hate that stuff.
I made Nantucket pie. I've never made that before.
What the heck is Nantucket pie?
It's really good. It's like cranberries. But the only thing is, I didn't follow the recipe. It said, the last part of the recipe said, make sure you put a pan underneath because it drips. Oh my God. I had the biggest mess in my stove. It took me, for a long time.
Oh,
But
Can I stop by afterwards? My son and his wife are vegan, so they make this fake vegetable ham.
Tofu.
Oh God.
Oh, vegetable. Oh no.
It gives me heartburn. I need. The last time I went over, last year they didn't invite me because the year before I said when it was done, I said, I got heartburn now, and I think I'm going to go get some turkey.
I couldn't imagine eating vegan stuff on Thanksgiving.
Oh God.
I know McDonald's has Thanksgiving stuff.
We were talking about that at work today, and oh God, tofu turkey. Oh my God. Trish, I know that you're one, right? You're a vegetarian, correct?
No.
I thought you were.
No, you need the meat.
Yeah. I kind of a paleo diet, meat and fruits and vegetables. I don't, but I am very conscientious, about food also has vibrations. So I try to eat like grass-fed meat.
Yeah, you want the animal that hasn't been tortured before you eat them.
Because you are what you eat. So
they're not tortured.
Oh, there's some butchers that not butchers, but there's slaughterhouses that really.
Oh yeah. And
you can find them videos on YouTube
and things like that.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. I almost became a vegan. I mean, vegetable. What do you call it? Vegetarian after I saw that.
Yeah.
When those slap them in the head.
I love cows. I love cows and chickens
pass,
and pigs. I love them all.
When those guys pass away, if reincarnation's true, the guys shooting them in the head with the bullet thing, they come back as a cow.
Oh God, they torture the cows.
This way they know how it felt.
And even the pigs that they I wasn't going to eat bacon ever again after I saw the one about the pigs.
Yeah.
What show was this? What show?
That was a YouTube video. If they torture the pigs, they stick them in. They're not allowed to move. I know you don't want to hear it. It's terrible.
But I will say they taste absolutely delicious.
Come
on,
love bacon.
As long as I don't see it, everything.
Bacon makes everything better.
Everything except liver.
Oh, I love liver.
I had a pet pig one time, and his name was Hamilton, and I stopped. I could not cook or eat bacon the entire time he lived with me.
Wow.
If you'd have fed him bacon, would have made him
my
a
gosh.
cannibal?
No,
bacon is the best thing that ever was made. But
oh man, I cut liver every day at work.
Liver's delicious. You just don't know how to make it.
Dude, have you ever seen it
Liver's
whole?
actually bad to eat.
You coat it in flour, you fry it, put some bacon in it. Onions, it's delicious.
Try cutting it. It's the most bloodiest.
I know, it's disgusting. It is disgusting. It's very disgusting.
I can't look at red meat. It's bad to eat because the liver is what filters all the toxins.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Why would you?
It's still delicious though.
It's not. I mean, like. I guess some is okay because of the blood and the iron and stuff, but they say too much is really bad for you.
But I have it once a year.
When I cut it, that's all you smell in the meat room is iron.
Well, that's good. That's why I have it, because I'm anemic, so I hit
Oh God! If you would actually see.
No, I see it when I know.
No, I mean when it's like this, when it's that.
Seriously, Sean, I cannot look at red meat.
Going back to like witches and hunting and stuff, and why a lot of witches keep my sister was hunting like a week ago, and I asked her if they had kept the hides or the skulls, and that's a way to honor the it's kind of like in native cultures we believe in using every part of the animal. So if you're going to kill it anyways, a lot of witches keep those things as a symbol of life and death, and to honor the animal that died for their food. So
well, I understand. I can see that, but the only reason why I eat meat is because it's good for you. Okay, because I
Yeah.
don't eat, I do the
You should
keto
have seen the
thing.
porterhouse steak I made was the last one.
But
Oh, was that
I
good?
hate the thought of, because I watched all these like Yellowstone, and I love animals, and I love
yeah, I
the
can't do
horses and
it.
the cows, and when I see someone, a hunter that kills a deer,
Yeah,
I can't even.
I can't do it.
I won't date a hunter.
They're saving
then
you
again,
from they're
think
saving
about
you
it.
from smashing it with your car.
Right, but also look at it. If we didn't have the deer, how could we eat
They're
back
so
then?
beautiful.
So that's what they're made for.
But there's one thing of killing things, you know, to eat and to use
Right.
their body parts and stuff. But there's all these, you know, there's sport hunters now too that just go out and kill for the game.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that's
just do it for
ridiculous. That's
fun.
not
Things
cool.
like that, and I'm so
No.
that kills me.
No,
But-
I just can't see it killing Bambi. Okay.
or
You-
even
you
you know
mentioned-
any exotic animal like these poachers and stuff. It kills
That's
me. I
that
can't.
pisses me off.
Hey, Tricia, you mentioned Native Americans. So, you know, I did a presentation on Native American folklore and creatures, and I was surprised that how many there were. There were probably 300 different creatures they had, you know,
Yeah.
and by different tribes, different creatures, all of that. But in the research to put that together, I came across a lecture and a priest was talking, and he made a comment that the Native Americans, you know, they had a god of everything, you know, the god of the wind, the sun, the birds, the land, death, light, whatever, everything. They had all these gods and they did their rituals and stuff. And he said what they were doing with these real pagan rituals, and they were in contact with demonic entities. And really why their culture collapsed and failed, you know, it wasn't really the settlers that came in. It was that they just had it all wrong with what they were doing. They were really in contact with demonic entities with a lot of their stuff. That's why their society failed.
Well, a lot of Native cultures, you know, now we're understanding, you know, a lot of people that have researched UFOs. A lot of that in, you know, I came from New Mexico, the cliff dwellings and things like that, all the drawing on the walls and stuff. There's more correlation to the natives and, you know, alien activity and UFOs and things. So I think, yeah, that could have definitely contributed to a lot of their survival.
Yeah, they were being deceived. I wish there was a good Native American, you know, around here in Pennsylvania that could come speak at the conferences. You know, there's a couple of guys, and they might be down in New Mexico, these two I don't know if they were cops or park rangers, and they had all kinds of encounters with UFOs and paranormal activity. You know, I've read some of their stuff. But you know, a lot of times Native Americans, they won't tell you a lot of what goes on the reservation, and you know, like the I don't want to call him a witch doctor or the shaman and stuff. He won't discuss, you know, what he does and why he does it and how he does it. They just won't tell you that stuff.
It's funny that you're talking about that because, you know, behind you, all I see is the sign, the 4-way test, like, which, you know, brings about, I was thinking of the Four Corners, you know, the New Mexico.
Yeah. Well, that was when I was Rotary Club president, you know, so I hung that here. You know, is it the truth and is it fair to all concerned, you know? And I got to keep reminding myself that when I deal with Democrats.
Also, my Yogi T message tonight says truth creates peace. So there you go.
There you go.
Not in my world, Trish.
It's too hard to remember lies, so you might as well just be truthful, because people know when you said something previously and then you say something different, you're lying.
You know what I found out, though, it's pretty crazy, is that if you lie to a person, they believe you, but if you tell the person the truth, they think you're lying.
Well, a lot of people want you to lie to them, to tell them the thing they want to hear. But if you tell them what you believe is the truth and it's not what they want to hear, you know, they get angry. You know, they don't want to hear it.
Right.
Most definitely.
Witching hour.
Yeah, witching hour is coming. You guys have any investigations coming up?
Nah, nothing.
Nothing after the
I'm
holiday.
going to investigate how much food I can eat this Thursday.
Yeah. All I
You-
know
what's
is
your-
I want to wish everybody here a happy Thanksgiving.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
happy
happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving to
you're
everybody and our
grateful for-
listeners, and
Yes.
enjoy
Happy Thanksgiving.
Sean,
your
what are
family.
you going to talk
food,
about
and-
tonight?
My guest, he canceled that, and so
Oh, no.
whatever comes upon my brain and not my mouth, I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about gratitude. You know, even though I'm supposed to have a paranormal show, I like to take it off subject and talk. I'm going to talk about gratitude because it is Thanksgiving, and I'm definitely grateful for a lot of things, especially
Most
the last.
definitely.
Yeah. So. And I'm grateful for you, Jenny. I'll tell you right now, and I'm not kissing your butt. No, because if I did, no, listen, don't laugh. I'm being honest with you, straight up. If it wasn't for you sending me a message asking me to be on this show, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Okay,
Oh,
so I want to thank you for that.
well,
Yeah, you'd be in bed sleeping right now.
yeah,
Yeah, right?
that's true. I would be.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving,
Thank you
everybody.
for joining us tonight on Chasing Prophecy Radio. Definitely we'll have you back on the show, John. You're
Yes, we
great
need
to
you.
have on the show, and everybody
I'm the
likes
most
you.
interesting man alive.
You
Still alive.
are.
Thank you, Boots.
Still alive.
Dos Equis.
Don't kill any more moths.
Thank you, Boots.
Well, if they attack me, I'm going to defend myself.
No, because now you have one living on your roof. It's going to be
Oh,
a problem.
The Mothman.
Well, we're going to leave it at Mothman on the roof at John Venture's house. All right, guys. Have a great evening.
Good
and thanks
night,
for
everybody.
tuning in
Thank
to
you.
Chasing Prophecy.